Hello, welcome to Point One Studio. Today's our topic is Rhino, top 50 commands for architect engineer. Maybe I'll make a series like one or two, maybe even three, or sometimes maybe it goes beyond 50 commands. But in this video, I want to show the most useful commands that architects and engineers need to know to use Rhino. Rhino is very simple software, so I think if any of you used to use AutoCAD or any other 3D software, then very familiar with interface and command words. So welcome and let's get started. So if you start Rhino, you can see on the right here, you can find out all the news of the McNeil Rhino users community news, and there's also some tips you can always find it out. So I'm going to open Meta template for our video today. In Rhino, as you can see, we have just different viewport, top, front, right, and perspective. If you double click on perspective view, you can here in this small tab, then you can always maximize the view and minimize the view. We're going to work mostly on 3D, so I'm just going to activate perspective view. And on your right side, we have here layers and properties and display options. You can actually add more options, even help, command help, or other plugins or the add-on tabs. You can always add it. On the left here, you can find out the toolbox where you can use basic tools from Rhino, or otherwise you can always go through here different ribbon tab to find out more details. But my purpose for the training, let's say training for architects and engineers, is not going through every single detail, but because you can find out lots of tutorials for that. But I'm going to show what commands you can use the most to work with engineering or architectural project. So basically here, if you see, there's point, line tool and curves, and then we're going to surface and solid geometry, and then some operation tools. The important thing is here, when you hover your mouse cursor in Rhino commands, then you can see two mouse icon. One is left button and right button. So depends on which mouse cursor you're clicking on, you get different performance. So commands. And when you look at here small triangle, when you click, then you can find out a little bit more extension of the commands, so you have more option to work with it. But basically here above here, these are 2D tools, and then you have surface and your solid. Just very simple example. I'm just gonna click on this polyline. I can put any points, or you can also give here the coordinates. For example, you can put 0.0.01 and it goes back here at the exact point. And you can, here we have multiple different options to close, or so for example, if I leave it closed, then the line is closed. So for now, this is exactly the same as AutoCAD, and you can click on this control point of the segment, and you can update the line geometry. And all the commands, for example, you can type, instead of clicking here, you can type commands on this commands tab here. For example, if I want to do offset, then it's same as the AutoCAD commands. You can offset, and you can give the distance value to a meter, and you can click inner side or outer side of the boundary, then you get the offset. So all the commands are very same. So you can do fillet, for example. Then here, when you click first and second, you can fillet. You can draw simply just like AutoCAD commands, you can draw line and you can trim and select just same as AutoCAD. You can trim the object that you want to cut it out, and also extend. You can use the exactly same AutoCAD command as I said. So there's nothing difficult to use Rhino. It's just maybe it's not familiar with the new interface, but basically we have layer system which is exactly the same as AutoCAD, and here you can also set different material, and you can go here to set different line types for the material, for the layer, and also you can set the line color and line weight, depends on which layer you use. To activate your current layer, you can just double click on the layer here, and you can create new layer, or you can create new sub layer, and etc. But today what is gonna be interesting for us is of course to draw surface. So I'm just gonna hold my mouse cursor left button, hold a couple of seconds, and then you can pop up this extra toolbox that we can extend the function. And first one, the command is called surface pt. So that's the whole command word. So you can use surf pt. By the way, I'm using English version of Rhino, but if you use like different language version, the core command word is always same. So you can put underdash before the command word, and then you can type surface point. Then this allows you to create execute the same commands from English version. And here we can specify different, like a maximum 4 points of the surface. So you can type, for example, the coordinates, or you can just clicking on your canvas in Rhino canvas. Then as you can see, you have already one surface drawn. Right now the normal face is the other way around, because I set in my display setting here on the object settings, back face color I highlighting with this purple magenta color. But if you don't want to activate it, then simply you can disable it. But it's always good to see the normal direction of the surface. So if you want to flip the surface direction, you can type dir direction, and then here as you can see we have a downwards arrow, but you can click flip, and when you hit enter, then our surface goes correct sort of normal direction that we need. You can also just with same command, you can place first one, second point, and then third point, and you can press enter or spacebar to finish your command. Then you create one surface. Yeah, it's very simple and easy to use. And there is a snapping tool here below. You can enable all snap, and you can, here is the same as like AutoCAD snapping function or other software. But what I like here is you can use grid snap, and let's say I want to draw exactly 1 unit of my grid here. Then I can draw 1 meter, 1 square meter, like a square meter of the plane here with the surface tool. So which is really handy. There are many other tools, but I want to mention about Planar Curves. So Planar Curves, let's imagine we import AutoCAD drawing by importing the DWG file from external file, and we got imagine we have sort of this sort of CAD block, and which is composed of 2 circles. And in this case, we can use this planar curves, and when you select these 2 lines, and you can create surface. So as long as your the important thing is, as long as your curves or line, the boundary curves, they are sit on the one same plane, then you can use this tool. But imagine if you have, like, let's say one of the control curves is not exactly aligned to the plane, then this tool it's not working. It works, but it only creating the surface based on the outer curve, which is perpendicular to the current construction plane. So just keep in mind that is also important. And another surface tool, you can the most of case what we use is loft. So let's say we have one circle and all the other commands are same. You can just copy and I can enable vertical. And let's imagine we scale a bit. You can turn on this gumball and you can manipulate geometry by dragging and drop to this scale gumball of the axis. And if you want to loft this surface, then the curves, then you can basically click on this loft function, and as you can see, it shows the three. So, 1 second. Where is my window? Sorry, I'm using multiple window. So okay, so when you press enter, then it goes to this option where you can choose different style. You can use tight, or you can also use straight sections, or normal. You can use most smooth rules, which calculating the degree of the surface. But most of case you use normal. So we loft very smooth geometry based on these profiles, and you can also hit OK to finish. Then we can make this simple surface with loft tool, and you can also close this surface by typing cap. That means we create kind of solid object from the loft geometry and enclose the bottom and top surface top openings with this cap option. So in Rhino, when you from the surface, if you type what, it shows all the object definition. So it's a poly surface because it's connected more than one surface together as they join them. So it's defined it as a poly surface. Whereas if I type here the other surface we created before and type what, then as you can see it shows the surface. And of course you can find that all the detailed information about the GUID of the element, and also UV degree definition of the surface. Now I'm going to, so far what we've used is this command surface point and planar surface and network surface. I'll skip that, and loft we used, and there is another one called Etched Surface. So that's the command word, Etched Surface, which allows us to create a surface based on more than 2 edges. So let me draw. Let's say I'm going to draw a box here, and let's copy this box to the next. So what it does here, we can select more than 2 edges of the geometry and we can make a surface. How easy it is. So you can select these 2 edges also, and we can create triangle. Or let me create continuously, so you can create triangle, and as I said, direction, you can flip, and when you enter you have this result. So you can basically use this curve like Etched Surface tool just to create perpendicular surface between the edges, and when you finish, actually you could join them also. Join same as AutoCAD. So when you join, the surface now becomes a poly surface that you have now joined more than one surface. There is also command isolate, which means we just, yeah, it's same as AutoCAD. You isolate the selected object, and you can continue to, for example, now if I type cap, then it encloses entire surface. So now it becomes kind of poly surface that is completely enclosed. And you can also use explode command, or here you can click on explode. That means we could explode the poly surface as a single surface objects, and you can delete what you those two surfaces that you don't need, and we can simply connect them again as a cleaner surface, and I can join them again. Join. So by doing this, we create complete solid object. Sure. I'm going to talk about more solid object or extrusion from Rhino probably in the next video, because today I want to focus more on this surface tool and some of the option to extract lines from the surface, so we can continue to work on it. And there are patches and rectangular from corner. The others are not very important. Extrude, okay, maybe extrude is the important, and sweep is also important too. And the others are not so important for engineer and architect. But if you want to always to see more, oh sorry, I shouldn't type here. If you want to know about specific tool, you can press F1 from the help window, so you can access to McNeil's Rhino's help, and you can search here more detailed information about your command. Alright, so I'll continue. Some surface tool. Let's say I want to do the sweep tool. I'm going to draw some random curves, and let's say I want to sweep some specific rectangle on it. So let me here just 90 degree, and I'm gonna align this center of the rectangle. So you can put actually center. Center is here. Got it. And you can put in here on the curve. And what I'll do, I will sweep this profile based on this layer. So there's command one, it's called sweep one layer. So when I click, it will ask you select a layer, which is that one, and then you can select your cross section to sweep, and you can press enter or spacebar. That we'll use freeform, or you can use road-like, and we can set the axis, but right now we just stick on freeform, and I'm going to finish the command. And as you can see, we can finish sort of sweep geometry, and of course you can always cap them to make it complete solid geometry, which is really useful because like we may have to create many cases like that by using sweep tool. Or let's imagine we have two different profile that we want to sweep, and in that case we need to use sweep 2. So here I'm going to put perhaps sort of hexagon. By the way, in Gimbal, as any other 3D software, if you click on this axis, and you can rotate them how you want. Let me move it from the center of the center of the hexagon to the layer here, and maybe I can rotate it a bit. So rotate command, just same as AutoCAD. And sweep 2, what it defines this time, it's a little bit different. It says first layer, select the first layer. In this case, layer is not that, but I want to use profile as a layer, and I want to select second layer, and then this actual curves as a cross section. So when you use it, it's kind of a mess. So it's complete in this kind of job in Rhino. Maybe it's difficult to do it because I think the in this case probably better to use other solution for that, because that profile and this mathematic path is a bit complicated for Rhino to create. But maybe I'll show another example. So the another example, I think maybe we don't use profile for the sweep tool, but we could create different layer on top of, like, let's copy this layer, and I'm put it on the top and put the other on the bottom, and you click on the curve that we create, and you can maybe click on the control point to manipulate the curve geometry. I'll do for the same on the bottom, and then we use this curve as a rail, and then we can sort of sweep this profile based on these two rail. So I'm gonna use sweep 2. So select first rail and select second rail, and we're gonna click on cross section here, and when you enter, press enter, and you can see we created this sort of very complex freeform geometry using Rhino, and you can also cap that. So this sort of function is very useful, and also you can actually make it a little bit more parametric modeling function by using record history here on the bottom. What it does, let me show you. So we can click this again, sweep 2, and so we select first rail and second rail, and then we're going to click on cross section, hit enter, and when you finish this command, now if we, like, I can see here there's a big sort of curvature, and the geometry is a bit destroying, and I can still continue to update my Rhino, the original curve geometry, in order to update your sweep 2 results. So I mean, we can go even crazier, but to me it looks kind of interesting, and if I'm happy with that, I can still cap them, and let's continue to modify geometry a bit. Yeah, when I cap them, then as you can see, it lose the history of the original sweep 2 commands. So let me undo. So until you happy with your geometry, you can continue to edit. You see, you can edit the geometry, and then you can cap the object. Once cap command, then it broke the history on object 1. So that's the this warning. It's fine. I'm happy with that. So you can finish your operation here. So today I showed you, like, just very simple, like, we looked through surface from 3 or 4 corner points, and we did planar surf, and after that we did loft, and we did edge curve, so edge surface, and after that we used sweep 1 or 2, and let me go one more command called extrusion. So which is very simple. So when you have this any curve on the plane, we can use extrude command. Then you can extrude based on this selected curve, and you can define direction or both direction. It make it solid. Yes, let's make it solid, and I'll type, let's say 10 meter. Then we have this one extrusion up to 10 meter. So if I type what, it shows extrusion. So extrusion is another geometry in Rhino. It's kind of poly surface, but Rhino is already indicating that it's extrusion. The difference between poly surface and extrusion is that you don't see isocurve. Isocurve is basically here, this connecting between UV of the surface and draw this curve. that indicating where the UV of the surface, but extrusion basically doesn't show this iso curve. So that's the only difference. But you can explode. When you explode, then it becomes every single surface, and after that, if you join them again, then this becomes a kind of poly surface. So you can see the iso curve between UV grid. So that extrusion works not only for just the drawn 2D drawing. You can also use extrude command based on any edge in Rhino. So you can extrude it up. And let me select one more time. This time I want to extrude, but I want to define the direction. So let me define X to this direction. Then you can extrude it based on that. So it's really nice tool. You can always flip, direction, type dir, and you can flip the direction of the surface, and it goes same to here. Flip. So we have sort of this sort of geometry, and let's keep repeat. I can use curve from 2 or 3 curve to close this part, and I'm going to type dir, flip, and we have this surface. Let's go repeat. And one more tip, if you want to look at your history of commands that you use, from command tool you can hit mouse right button to see all your previous command history. So I'm going to click on surface from 2 here, and that I can go to direction, and I'm gonna flip, hit enter to finish. So it's kind of nice, and I'm just gonna join them again. Select, if you want to select multiple object, you can hold your control key, and you can select them all. Or if you want to remove one of the selection, you can hold your shift key, and you Alt key is removing, sorry. So control key, shift key is adding more, and control key is removing. So hold your shift key to add more selection, and hold your control key and mouse left button to remove the selection from multiple selection. So, and then you can type join, then this geometry they are joined, and I can cap basically. Okay, cap doesn't allow me to close this case. Then what we can do in this case, let me see here. We can use many other options. Maybe you can use this 2 and 3 curve, of course, to close this. It's already looks good and it works. But this time I want to introduce the network surface. So it's called network surf. So we can select connected curve to network, and we can give edge more like tolerance, and you can also make the the precision differently. Let me go a bit more, and you can finish the command. Then we have this sort of surface that we can join. But I wouldn't recommend this case because the UV grid, you can see there is a sort of not really matching. So I'm gonna undo. To undo, you can just do Ctrl Z to undo, and I'll just, in this case again, I'm gonna use 2, 3 curve, edge surface. So, and when you finish, you have direct, and we flip. So we have exactly same UV division, and that we can join as a one poly surface. So when you type what is the command, and it shows the object definition. Yeah. So I think that's it for today, and we're going to look next video. I'm going to show more some of the tips that we can, for example, we can do duplicate edge, so we can actually define different layer with we can extract the edge of the surface to continue with other operation, or some more tools that we can extract property of surface, and we can continue to modify the geometry. So I think that's it for today, really. As you can see, Rhino, it's like really simple software that you can simply create this sort of complex geometry. And I mean, it's really useful for architects and engineers, and I hope it's sort of motivation for you to learn new software. And later you will see if there is a lot of function we can use plugin called Grasshopper, which is like a Visual Studio, visual programming. Then we can use Rhino and maximize and leverage all these sort of Rhino tools even more parametrically. And perhaps in the future I'll also introduce some of the scripting tool, like we can use Python, Iron Python in Rhino, or we can use Python or C# in Grasshopper directly. So you can really customize or automate your work process. So thank you very much, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe me. That helps me a lot to myself to motivate to continue in my YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.